Hey. Everybody email me.
I really can't. I don't know if I can get my hand out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like Winnie the Pooh.
And Kevin Campbell. Kevin, you
Yep.
can't win.
Oh.
You always lead by example.
He better be.
And Sarah Kate.
I'll send her a copy. She knows it.
All right, let's start with bucket fills. What is good going on or bucket fills? Let's get quite a few of them. What do we got?
I'm gonna fill my bucket.
Love it.
I was being proactive and checked my transcripts and realized that I had taken a course two times in a row. It was a 3 credit course. So I had to scramble and take another credit. So I'm filling my bucket for actually checking my transcripts.
Being proactive. Way to go. Way to go.
That happened.
Yeah.
That happens. That happens.
And there's more than just one page, so you can click next, which classes you've taken, because I can do that.
Like a generic.
So maybe we should fill Candy's bucket for all the reminders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, because a lot of people get really irritated by that, and yet at the same time, there would be on that email if they actually were done with their CE. A lot of times, at the end, they always get the extra email, so thank you.
Probably getting emails from Mar now too. Chris, I just want to fill your bucket for bringing that up, so.
Yeah.
That is-
Any more? Any more?
All right, what else? What else is good? Oh,
I'm
Candy.
gonna fill Chris's bucket again because he set up the artisan tour.
You did.
And so, going out again this Friday. So thank you for getting that all organized and hope to see you this Friday.
Also, he's getting some really good social media content from going to the artisan tour, so if that's something that you wanna start integrating into your business, everybody always loves seeing cool things in houses, and those homes have some really awesome features.
Gosh, is this the first time anybody's gotten 3 buckets filled in a row?
It might be.
Right, you know, I mean,
Maybe.
is there a 4th? You got another one?
I hear the part, I hear the part. Well, I mean, Alex is bringing a whole cooler, so what are those?
Ooh.
Oh.
Fill that bucket.
All right, what else? Derek?
I want to fill Heather's bucket for being more vigilant about my commissions than I am.
Great, thank you.
We cleared up the commission non-issue, right?
I want to actually fill Heather and Lydia's bucket because what happened on the last week, right? That I think sometimes we don't see outside of our own perspective, right? Is, hey, we need this, this, and this. They have taken a lot of time to learn what they're going to show you today. There's been a lot of questions. There's been positive feedback and maybe some frustration that people are giving them as well. And they've done it all with a smile. So again, when you're feeling frustrated about something, maybe ask more questions out of curiosity versus other ways to do that, because they're really doing the best that they can with what they've got going on right now with the new system. And they have cut a lot of checks in the last 2 days that kind of piled up. So I just want to say we appreciate you and the patience and hard work you guys have done in the last few days. And they always do, but the last have been a little bit tougher than normal. Wendy?
I have a couple. Eric followed up with one of my first gen home buyers and just did such a great job of keeping me in the loop and communicating, and just is such an awesome person.
Thanks.
So thank you.
Fill that
Eric.
bucket.
And then, Melanie, I had kind of a tricky remote closing and things kind of fell apart and we had to do some changing because the lender made some last minute changes and she was awesome. She was just amazing. It would not have happened without her. So kudos to Melanie, Joseph and her team. And then, that closing that happened and they moved up here from North Carolina. And then yesterday they wrote me the loveliest Google review with 5 stars. Wow. It was a happy day.
Did you get all the stuff that you wanted to do for them as well?
I did. I went and filled their fridge.
You did some really amazing things for them and their kiddos as they were moving up here, so. What else? What else we got that's good? Got some kiddos here, school's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy and I filled our candy dishes.
I know. We're just gonna get.
We'll be around later.
For later today. All right, moving on. All right, so June training calendar. As we said before, we have all new constructions on Thursdays, which is awesome, and they're gonna be off-site. So I believe when you sign up for that, it'll say the address of the places that you're gonna be meeting, and then also the artisan tours after that. Today we have our R&R, and we have our block party, which is going to be inside due to the rain. Where is R&R tonight? That is at
The local in West End.
the local in West End. And that is from what time to what time, Rick?
What? Every time from 4 till 6.
4 till
We
6.
say until 10, but it's 4 to 6.
All right, there it is. We are closed next Wednesday, so just be conscious of that. If anything is coming on or you have anything else, we will be completely closed. And then Bethany Nelson Group Call Night is next Thursday. We have What Did You Say with Kelly Zwilling on the 25th, which if you're like me, you should probably take that class so you're not texting things that are offensive when you didn't even know it.
Anything you want to add to that, Kelly?
That's pretty good.
That's what, I mean,
You were definitely in danger if you were over the age of 40. Just saying.
okay, let's just back off that one. Like, okay.
I'm telling you, I have no idea.
All right, well, it was going great until that, but.
Personally.
Now I
I feel attacked. And then we have our block party on the 26th as well. Do you guys have any questions in regard to the?
Oh, I have just a comment. So I did send out a calendar invite for tomorrow's Builders Series. If you accept it, I just want to ensure that you're aware that it's in St. Michael. And so please let us know as Matt Strobel and will be there waiting for us. And so if you did accept it, I also sent out just a reminder like, hey, this is in St. Michael. So just so you know, sometimes you accept things and are like, oh, I'm coming to the office, but that one is offsite. So you can just confirm that that works out for you. That would be great. And we will see you there.
I would also say that this is an opportunity that a lot of brokerages do not get, right? The fact that we have people volunteering their time to show you the differences in new construction is invaluable, quite honestly. So I know that everyone is busy. I know that there's a lot going on. But if we can't have a great attendance at things like these, it won't happen, right? Because people don't want to volunteer their time if people don't show up. So I highly encourage you, if you aren't aware of this builder, if you're not aware of different price points with new construction, and even if you are, things are changing so dramatically in the construction world that you can always learn something new, especially from someone that's done this for quite some time. So highly recommend you guys signing up. And going and probably taking at least 1 to 2 things away from it.
Amy, I just looked it up and I know, she says St. Michael or it is only 19 miles away, which is 25 minutes, and it can take you 25 minutes to get from Edina to Minnetonka. So
To be fair, I don't feel like there's ever a time I go to a soccer game for my child that's only an hour long, that it is less than 30 minutes. And last night I was in somewhere way farther than that. Like, if you want to learn and you want the value, you're gonna make time. It would be a priority. So just think about that piece of it, because we all have excuses for things, but this is a valuable thing to be going to. Chris?
And then, the homes that we're going to on the 14th, so this Friday, are the homes in Orono. So there's just 2 homes. Oh, who are?
Yep, that's coming up.
Chris, who are the builders?
Gordon James.
Gordon James and NIH Homes LLC. So it'll be good.
I mean, this is, actually, I'm sorry, I could talk about this all day, because this is a huge opportunity for you. And then we'll talk about this. So artisan tour, if you don't have your tickets, $30. And you can go on your own too. So go with the office, but then go if your Father's Day coming up, whatever, go tour some of these. It's a great opportunity.
We already did
We already did that. Oh, this is fun. So we are starting, I tried to send out an email. We have some technical difficulties with sending a video in an email, so I put it on the Facebook page. So starting June 17th, you're gonna have a lead generation group. And it can be the entire office. That's actually what I hope it is. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we are going to be lead generating from 10 until 11. We are going to meet at 9:45 to go over what conversations would be happening during that time frame. If you have questions, who you're calling. From 10 until 11, you are expected to bring 25 people to call. You can choose who those 25 people are. They can be Sphere, past clients, they can be cold calls. You pick whoever you would like to. And then at 11 o'clock, we will get back together and it's gonna be right out in, it's not really the reception area, it's the like cube area in the front where that large table is. We're gonna be meeting it there at 9:45 and then we're gonna meet there again at 11 to talk about our wins, what we learned, and of course, track. We are gonna track who's doing it, how many dials, how many contacts, as well as how many appointments. Because it'll be helpful for you as we keep going with this to say, okay, it seems like I'm getting this many contacts for this many dials, and it can help kind of shift your lead generation as you grow your business. So are we all committed to this? It's gonna be myself,
I'll be there.
Eric,
Oh.
Jack.
Pull that bucket.
All right, so the three of us are gonna be there for sure. If anyone else would like to be there, I would really, really encourage you to send me an email. Because I want to know who I can help hold accountable to being at the lead generation sessions. And when I say you're committed to it, we're gonna talk about which days you're committed to, and we're gonna commit to that for at least how many weeks? 4 weeks. And then at 4 weeks, we're gonna reconvene and see if you're gonna commit to more than whatever days you've already chosen or a longer time period. Fair?
Is there a winner?
There is
You
a
are.
winner because your
Checking
business is
account.
gonna go up.
Checking account.
Participants.
Any questions around that?
I just piggyback with somebody that did it like every day for an hour every day, like you can set like 2 to 3 appointments. So quick, it's just a valuable resource.
And when people are doing it together, it's not as scary. Like other people are doing it, and you can encourage each other. And when you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to call. Well, ask someone else who's calling or just listen in. And if you're afraid to make the calls at first, commit and go listen to people making calls. Because I would be happy to have you sit into my office. Obviously, it's a little different call than like an agent, but you can absolutely hear what those calls look like. So I'm gonna have everybody raise their hand who is committed to this and is gonna send me an email for at least one day. Each
Come on,
week.
Rick.
Or 4.
And if you watch my video, I said send me an email either way on why you're not interested in increasing your business. So I'd love to hear from you either way. Just a little truth there. Next, so critical conversation. I'm signed up for this. This is something that's gonna help with the lead generation portion. I have been talking to quite a few agents about how to have different conversations, really tough conversations. Conversations around value, conversations around commissions, conversations around different things that are happening in the market right now, which includes job losses. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, there's things shifting in my life because XYZ lost a job, right? This is a huge positive for you in so many ways, personal and professionally. So again, it's Phil Jones. It's the 24th and the 27th. They're the exact same class. If you were to do this outside of KW, this would be multiple, like it'd be at least $2,000 to see this course, right? And it is $299, I believe, or $249, $299? $299 for all day. If you register before the 14th, which is in 2 days, you actually get the workbook that you work with along in that class sent to you. I highly recommend, if this is something you want to do it before the 14th so you can have the workbook and get the most value out of it. If you sign up. Yep. Who signed up for this class already?
Where do we
I know.
sign up?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we have it on our.
We could send out the link.
We'll send out an email. We'll send out an email.
I went back and looked for it the other day and I couldn't figure out where it was, so if
Yep.
that would be helpful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I know I did it through an email. The link
Yeah,
was
and
right
then I
there,
couldn't
so
find it,
I'll find
so.
it.
All right. Oh, Heather, this is you.
Yep, this is me. So you guys, as you heard Jamie saying, we have switched over a system that Vinny and I have been working on. On your guys' side, a little bit has changed, but actually they've condensed it and made it much easier for you. So I just wanted to show you how we are submitting, how the new process for submitting the offers and commissions tab. The commissions tab is the breakdown of showing how you guys are getting paid on your commission, okay? You guys have always done this and they just condensed it a little bit. So I want to show you how we're doing it. So this
By the
is-
way, this doesn't change anything with the documents that you have to submit
That's what I.
in order to actually get paid. So let's be very clear on that. This is just after you've submitted everything. This is the commissions portion. That tab only is
Yep.
what's changed.
So this is the opportunity. This is exactly how it's always looked. Here's your details of the opportunity and here's all your documents. These are, Jacob, do you want to switch back here for just a second? That's everything that you guys have already all put in. This is what gets reviewed by Matt, gives approved statuses. And after, then after your inspection, everything is complete. You can go ahead and do your offers and commissions tab. So this is what we're gonna go through today. If you remember in the past, it was a few pages, they condensed it down to one. So Jacob's gonna add a new offer. You can give the offer a name. A lot of people just give it the address. Jacob's quick and he's gonna copy and paste. Property address you can search for, it comes up automatically. Gonna find it and click on it. Then select the property type. Residential. New home or resale, it's always been there. Number of units, it's one home. From now going forward, if you do have a dual, you're gonna do two different opportunities and two different commission tabs, one for the sales side, one for the list side, and one for the buy side. Okay.
Ooh, what did she just say? How many different opportunity or how many different commission tabs are we doing? Two for a dual
A
agency.
dual agency, you're gonna do two different commission
I
tabs.
should have had a quiz for this.
Hasn't that always been the case?
No? It depends on who we are.
Yeah.
It should have always been the case.
Yeah. Just going over the general guidelines on what this looks like.
No questions.
And now you're gonna have just a little bit of buyer information that you're gonna fill in, either pre-approved, either pre-qualified, to put in the buyer's name, any co-buyer's names, anything with an asterisk is required, okay? There's the agent to Zurich, here's the seller, name that you're gonna take just off of your PA. You're gonna have you could put that in for your own information. I would highly recommend putting in that seller's, agent's information, just so you can have it, but you don't need to. Here's the terms and conditions of the PA. Cash down, sales price, percent earnest money, you can either put in a percentage or an amount,
And that's not required, which is.
not required, contract date, closing date. Any comments that you wanted to say in there?
Oh, you don't have to put the contract date in anymore?
No, I thought you did. I don't know if that's like changed again, but
You
yeah,
couldn't
you
get
don't.
paid until you did that last. on the
And it
last
never
one.
carried over.
Needs to be required.
The
See
other
if
nice-
we can get past it, say create and accept offer.
Yes, the other nice thing is you don't have to create and then wait for it to load and then hit accept again. You can just press that. Oh, it is required.
Oh, got
Oh,
it.
it does.
It does require it. So, yeah, and you can go back and put in whatever the contract, the original contract date was. And yeah, so now this used to be, I think, 3 pages, right? Condensed it down to 1, so that is much easier for you guys.
Yep.
So yeah, he accepted the offer. Now here is your commissions tab. This is your overview of your commissions tab. And shows you all the information you already put in. Shows you your commission amount. And Jacob, what are we?
Oh, I usually just put notes in here, but if you don't put any notes or don't need to tell anything to the office, you can just submit it, I'm assuming,
So
right?
all of this information goes in automatically. Tells us the commission amount, the percentage of what you've been paid. This would show if there was a bonus. If you had a bonus from your BAC, you could put $100 in there. Any outside referrals that you wanted to have could go in there.
Heather, how do they put in another agent if they're splitting the?
So here's the agent payment information, here's the commission information, here's the agent payment information, you just do add another agent. So if you had to split with someone else in the market center, or if you're in a team, You could just type in another agent's information. You don't necessarily have to put in their unit. You could leave that at 0. Just put, the amount of the commission that they're getting. I think he meant concession would be,
Yeah, per unit.
I
yes,
just had to
but you
look
can
this up.
make that at 0. Like if you wanted to give, if you're just giving a 15% referral fee to someone else in the office, you could leave your unit at 1, put this unit to a 0, and just put $1,000 in agent gross commission. You can see right now that it shows there's errors. It's over distributed because he's, really all the commission is going to the Zurich. Anything's gonna give you an asterisk and show up red if anything is wrong.
And the way that you fix that is, you go into the primary agent already, hit edit agent payment, and then you can remove the commission from here. So that way it'll all total out to the correct amount at the end. So for this one, if I was giving a $5,000 referral to Rachel, I would change this to 13,000 instead of 18,000 and then hit save. And then when I go in and create Rachel again, I can put the 5,000 in here. And then it will show up without the error message there.
It gives you the totals. You don't even have to get out your calculator like I do every single time I do this.
It's gonna show you if anything does not balance out. It's going to not let you save it. It'll show you what the error is and what's wrong with it. Outside referrals, you're gonna be able to click on outside referrals. You can start typing in. It will require you, just like it did before, to know your outside referral information. If we don't already have it on file, it's gonna need the legal name of the brokerage. A doing business name, the W-9. You are, just like you did before, it's gonna require you to have all that information to put in there to go ahead and put in any outside referrals. You can get that from requesting that from a W-9 from the other brokerage.
Any questions?
Not much difference. I mean, it really isn't different on your guys' side, except for condensed, a little easier to work through, not as many steps. Would you agree, Jacob?
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, is it a lot?
Save me a fair bit of time whenever I'm doing commission tabs, because I can just buzz through it way quicker. One note I do want to give is whenever you are submitting these for a listing, you do still have to attach a listing through KWLS. But that's the same thing we were doing before, where you just go in, you click the, the button, it pulls up the tab on the side, and you can search by address or MLS number. So exact same process as before, just a note that has to happen for listings, so.
Does that all make sense? And you guys can ask Lydia, anytime you have any questions, we are happy to help. Anytime, anything we can do.
Just fixing this before I forget, because I will, and then we'll have issues.
You'll need to add it manually into KWLS like you did before. It'll let you click on it. Yep, it'll let you click on, add to KWLS. It'll ask you for the basic information of the listing. It has to be tied to a listing.
Any other questions? Awesome.
Thank you, guys. And let me know if you have any questions going through the process. We're always happy to help. Thanks, Jacob.
Oh, broker moment.
Oh. All right, 3 minutes, someone start timer.
On it.
August 17th, everything changes on, not really for Minnesota, but across the country, lots of things are gonna change, having to do with how we do commissions. Biggest thing that we need to know is that whenever you show a house from August 17th on, you need to have a agreement with that person prior to doing that. Whether that's a one-time showing agreement, whether that's your buyer exclusive, whether that be, there has to be some, relationship before you show them a property. So what that means is you can't just meet them there, open the door and then say, we'll get that later. If you do that, we don't know what the punishment is gonna be like yet. We do know that, in Minnesota, it probably makes sense for us to tighten a lot of things up. So if you tend not to turn in a net sheet, it's time to start turning in a net sheet. If you tend not to give a commission disclosure, it's time to give your commission disclosure and get things in right away. We're also gonna ask, we know you're good at getting your listings in, and the reason is because in order for a listing to be withheld, Lydia says you gotta put it into command first. On the same side on the buy stuff, as long as we know that before you can show a house, you have to have that agreement. We're gonna ask you, load that agreement right into command right away, start your file. right away. We're not gonna fine you if it's not in 2 days like MLS does. But we're gonna say, hey, that's the expectation. Is that we're starting to put things on the buy side in the MLS. Here's another thing that, forms are gonna change. We met as, brokers of the association last week. And we got to see some of the forms, and we worked through some of the forms. They're not perfect in any way yet, is what we discovered. So we're still looking at adjusting some of that. However, one of the things that is going to be on there is your buyer rep is going to say, you cannot be compensated more than is on this agreement, right? So sometimes right now you put agreements on and you go, okay, we're gonna make 2.7%, and then that buy side just happens to pay out 3%. And you're like, sweet. And oftentimes you pocket that because that money's coming right from the other brokerage and you get it. You can't do that anymore. So we're trying to figure out right now if there's gonna be if we're gonna take that compensation disclosure, what we would like to do is do the compensation disclosure and buyer rep amendment. We'd like to do it in one, that as long as you put everything on there and disclose, we could do it that way. But it might come to a point that we're just trying to figure things out, right? How does that work? It's also gonna come on your listing agreements are gonna look a little different. How am I doing on time?
You have 8 seconds.
Perfect. Listing agreements are gonna look different. We'll start to show you things, but be flexible because they're not out until August.
There it goes.
Okay, I have to sit down because I don't want to waste my time, or take my time. All right, go ahead.
I just want to make sure the compensation disclosure is still going to be at the time of offer.
Right, it still be at the time of offer is the disclosure, and what we've are asking the forms committee to do is put that as a disclosure and an amendment so that they can amend that contract so that they're the same if they're different. However,
And
notice
right
this,
now, the thought is that comp disclosure has to match the exact same
it cannot be
percentage
more.
or amount or less than the buyer rep.
That's right. So the agreement says cannot be more. It can be less, right? And I expect there's going to be a lot more negotiation. You'll be able to write things on your PA like seller. One of the differences is it a broker compensated spot? Are we sharing with each other? Or is the seller now offering compensation to the buyer's agent? You'll be able to write that on a PA. Before we would avoid that. And then there's gonna be language about total compensation. So whether it comes from a broker side or the buyer side, and that's where it gets a little tricky right now. You don't gotta get stuck in the weeds, just know it by August 17th, we should be able to tell you what it looks like.
I just want to remind you with what he's just saying, right? What were negotiations previously when we were in a purchase agreement? That was between the buyer and the seller. When what you just said made me think of, okay, now we've got commissions that are going to be negotiated probably during this purchase agreement, right? That class by Phil Jones, if you could not do that today and negotiate that smoothly with zero emotion, you should be in that class. And I'm gonna say, even from my own experience, I'm gonna need some things to tweak that, right? Because you've got buyer and seller that we've been going through already that have a lot of risks and have a lot of emotions, right? So then now when it comes to your payment and that gets brought up during that time frame, do you believe that there's gonna be emotions involved in that from the buyer and the seller? Do you believe there's gonna be emotions in that in regards to the two agents? Because now you're actually a part of that transaction in a very different way, right? And we're gonna have to learn how to keep that emotion even more between the lines. Because the whole reason you're representing someone is to get them into a home or to sell a home. Correct, Kevin?
Right. And one of the things that might happen on the listing agreement is you might have listing agents who on their spot on that listing agreement, all they do is put their own spot in, right? They say, you're gonna compensate me 4%, 3%, whatever they decide. And we're then gonna negotiate, we're gonna look at the net on the payout. So rather than that listing agent negotiating for the buyer's compensation, that buyer's agent is gonna have to negotiate in that spot. So that cannot be advertised on KW.com on our KW sites. It can't be advertised on Showing Time. It can't be advertised on the MLS. You could put it on your private or our brokerage only Facebook page or whatever if you're operating a compensation. But one of the things that you're going to want to get used to is clarifying how am I getting paid, right? We already have that with our buyer. You want to compensate that. But as you're doing that net sheet for your buyer or that compensation disclosure for your buyer, you want to make sure you're writing an offer that makes sense for you to get paid in that as well. So if you ask the listing agent, are you or your seller offering a compensation? And they would say yes or no, then you know how to write that offer with that. And you can write that right into your offer. Seller agrees to compensate buyer's rep, da 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 da.
So planning of that is, people actually have to call the listing agent now and see where their commission is coming, because how many times you randomly get an offer just sent to you and you're like, who is this person? Now there's gonna be actual communication between agents. Why? Because it's now their money, which is incredibly sad. So I hope that everyone was doing this before and talking to that listing agent and having communication. And if you weren't, please do that.
One more thing. We talked about
You
this.
are
in our-
way over.
This kind of class. One more thing. We talked about this in our class yesterday, is I think by default, we're gonna start having people go to the listing agent is gonna be the default spot. That, hey, there's a number there, I'm gonna call that spot. I don't have a representation. Unless we are proactively establishing relationships, where we're talking both to buyers and sellers, right? Where we gotta talk to buyers too. If we don't have that established, then what would keep them just from going to the other spot? Because they have to get in the, they have to sign something right away. So you also want to work on, how do I introduce the value quickly? What's my 30-second elevator speech? So when I meet them at the car, I can present my value in that spot.
So if a buyer goes directly to the listing agent, then they don't actually have to say
That's
the buyer
right.
rep because the seller.
100%.
Listing agent is showing the house on behalf of the seller.
That's right.
But
100%.
being able to, as a listing agent, being able to clarify what that means, right? Because said buyer coming off the street, in situations, this has happened to me before, prior to this, what do they say? Well, I don't know how to write, I don't have a purchase agreement. Right? Because they don't. They either have to look it up, you have to provide that. So you have to also have clarity on how to explain non-representation.
Right. You're a
legal
customer.
agency,
Yeah.
Facilitator, whatever you choose, you still have to be able to inform that other party on what that looks like. So all of a sudden, they're not like, well, I had no idea, I thought you were representing me too, right? Or whatever the case is. So I would get very, very good at having really fierce conversations and being very educated as a real estate agent.
Kevin, can we put the commission that's being paid out in Showing Time notes?
You cannot, because the reason you can't is because Showing Time is a vendor of our MLSs, and they're not gonna let us do that.
Random question. So as a listing agent, how are you gonna have like almost like 3 kind of tiers set up when somebody comes in like that? If you have an open house or something, right? How would you split that commission up, or how would you do that?
I think the best thing is to ask questions, right? You need to figure out if this buyer wants representation. You
Yeah, but
have
just
to
be
also ask them
practical.
questions if they know what representation looks like,
Yeah.
right? It's like anything. It's like when a buyer comes in now, what questions are you asking them, right? I mean, nothing is gonna change on how they present themselves. They're not gonna come in with like a sign that's like, I don't want an agent, I'm unrepresented. And I think people have this idea that they're gonna come in like bold and hard at you. No, it's the same thing. Get in a relationship with them, have a conversation and ask them what their wants and needs are. If they're like, I don't want an agent, maybe they're not gonna be able to like understand why they would need representation, but at least be able to provide the value that a buyer's agent gives someone, right? Because either way, unrepresented agents that are clients that came in, you were always trying to educate them in some way prior to. The only difference is you take them and show them properties without representation at all. And I know everybody in here has done it.
And remember, they don't have to sign it, but you have to present that agency right away. So if you're doing open houses, every time you go to meet someone the first time, just have it with you, whether they sign it. We want them to sign it for our compliance, but you have to actually present it to them.
Any other questions around that?
I have one more.
Kelly's just got, Kelly batting it back and forth. It's like pickleball over here.
Can you have a sign in the house that says what you're offering? Like, remove your shoes, we're offering 3%?
Yes, yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
Are we sure on that?
yeah, 100%. Yep.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tammy Augustine. I offer 2.7%. Like, can you have it on like your name tag? And that's actually a dead serious question. You can have like a little ribbon.
Yeah, remember the only,
It's like color coded.
the only places you cannot do it, you can't offer it is the MLS, and anything that the MLS feeds, anything that, they have relationships with, but you can advertise. You could call everyone and say, hey, I want you to know we're offering 3%. You can't offer in one spot on the MLS, who's the spot, one fee you're just putting out there. Now,
Can you put it on Facebook or Instagram?
yes, yep, you can put it on Facebook.
Or mails or.
What's that?
Marketing.
Yeah, now here's the deal. This is not finished yet, right? This is the start of where does real estate kind of go in the momentum of this, and that's where we're just kind of gotta go with what we gotta go with, and if, as long as when we're in a fiduciary relationship, as long as we're representing that person the best, then I think it's okay to go, here's how we're doing it, right? If the lawsuit came and they said, no, sellers really have been represented the best way possible, no, buyers knew everything, then they would have won the lawsuit. The challenge is there's a belief that people aren't being represented the best way that they can be represented by offering a flat fee. And the same thing, if you're a listing agent and you can look at spots and you go, hey, let's look at this net, let's include what you're paying out, let's look at that. That's a great thing to do for your client on the list side too. It makes a lot of sense.
Any other?
And clarity is power, and all we're doing is bringing more clarity.
That up that tight little bowl. Any other questions? Crystal clear?
Awesome conversations.
Awesome. Man, I'm gonna have like 2 seconds today. Go, Derek.
Right? Shows up every once in a while.
I like this guy.
This is that guy.
Yeah, I like that guy.
He, don't like the buffalo. The Joe Cashmore Award, Bob Honkin gave it to me last month. I wasn't here to accept it. It's a great honor because Joe is a good friend of mine and, definitely embodied the spirit of KW and, the culture. And, it's important to me that, one of the reasons why I chose KW in the first place was the collaborative culture and the sharing amongst agents. And where I was before, it seemed like everybody was very much hiding all of their secrets, like all of this stuff is proprietary, right? And Gary wrote the book, and the Red Book is like your ops manual for running at very high level real estate. And I chose this month to give it to Lowell Langford, who's not here today. And I've known Lowell for quite a while. He might have been here before I came to KW, and which I came to KW in 2008. And Lowell has always been a great resource and always has great stories to tell. And he knows pretty much every Marriott property across the entire US too. And we never have an issue finding something to talk about.
In like 2017, he introduced me to a gentleman who had had some financial difficulties and was really doing some big things and fell on hard times, right? And that person ended up renting one of our houses for a little while. I got to know him a bit and we purchased a home. My wife and I purchased a home and subsequently sold it to him on contract for deed, allowing him to get back into home ownership. And he, of course, ended up buying us out of that or finalizing the contract, however we say that. And still lives there today. This year, he's purchased 3 properties from me and continues to look to find other properties to buy. And we're working on some really big stuff. And the great part is Lowell's getting 25% on every one of those deals, which is awesome. I wouldn't normally love the idea of paying a referral fee. And in this case, it's really pretty cool because a chance to give back to Lowell. Anyway, Lowell's always been very helpful and a valued member of the office. And so, yeah, Lowell.
And if you haven't met Lowell, he does know everything about hotels, especially Marriott. All right, so we have some new people to KW, to our office this month. So if you see them, we have Aaron and Jesse. Introduce yourselves. They're both, Jesse actually comes from Hawaii and she has her Wisconsin license, working on her Minnesota license. And Aaron is new. So welcome to them both. All right, and congratulations on first closing to Alex. And we have 4 cappers this month. We have Tony, Ryan, Elka, and Mike. So again, this is May's number. So if this is your first numbers meeting with us, it's always the month prior to what we're in. And as always, there can be different things that may not be completely accurate because we do make mistakes sometimes. So if that's the case, please kindly come and let us know. Otherwise, usually it's perfect, right, Heather? All right, so top individuals. Always clap. Like, these are some big numbers and people are doing some really amazing things. And some of them are getting their first listings, first buyers. So top individual listings taken. We have Julie. We have volume. We have Amy at 1.5. Top individuals for closed volume, we have Colleen Schultz. Top individual teams. So listings taken, we have the Strobel Group. Closed volume, top individual teams, we have the Strobel Group. BCI, Strobel Group. teams, listings taken, Day Marie Enterprise with 5. And listings taken volume, we have Day Marie Enterprise with. Management is 240. All right, top teams close volume. Steinbach home selling team at 2. Yeah, we have Day Marie Enterprise. All right, top groups, listings taken. We have the Homers group with 9. We've got listings taken volume, Serempent team at 8.3. At 1 million. All right, closed volume for May. We have the Serempent team at 12. Can we just pause for like a second here? Like, I remember when it was like, oh, we got everyone over 1 million. And I'm like, we have everyone over 2 million in a month for the groups. And double digits. Like, this is incredible, you guys, incredible numbers.
They all have been.
They all have
Using
been.
individuals, the amount of individual ages that took a listing, it's been great. Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get to all of the record-breaking things in just a second. So closed GCI, we have Serempent team and. All right, so commercial listings taken, we have the man commercial. Great numbers. Okay, so let's just talk about, I think we had 9 individual agents taking listings. We had just as many individual team and teams. And then we had all of the groups up here taking listings. What does that say right now? I mean, these were large numbers for listings taken.
When was it back in the winter? Was it December or January when we had the conversations like when are we gonna get our stuff positive? I think that was like a huge turning point, like with motivation and just like I brought a whole different kind of energy here. Right? And those are the main numbers. And then March, April.
April was as
was
positive as
also
well.
really great.
Yep.
And then this just like looked like a fluid out of the water. So.
It absolutely has. Like, do you remember it was like every single column here was negative? Like ours was negative, MLS was negative, area was negative, right? It looks very different right now. Very different. So closed units, KWLM is us, MLS, and then our area. In regards to our area, it says down here. So a lot of people are like, oh, what constitutes our area? It's the below that's written in gray. So for closed units, we're up 14.6. The MLS is actually down 3.3 and the area is down 1.5. Anyone like a woo? Yeah. Oh,
Right.
not only are we positive, we are way positive, right? So all of this, when we have these numbers, it's all talking about more market share. And what does market share do? When you go into a listing appointment, you go into a buyer appointment, what does this say for you as an agent and us as a market center? We are not just flowing with the market, right? So why are we doing things like talking about this, putting in lead gen? We don't want to just flow with the market and say, oh, well, guess what though? We're only like -3 right now, really. You're like, no big deal. We're just kind of going along with it. That's not happening. Things are shifting for you guys as agents. Colleen.
I've only been selling houses since 2004. So not as long as some of the agents I was talking to yesterday. However, what I've noticed over the years is that it's always the market. And what I mean by that is it is down sometimes, it is up sometimes. That actually doesn't matter. What matters is being in relationship with people around you and knowing what's going on in their life so that when they have a life change, you can help them. And if that's your business, then it really doesn't matter if the market is high or low. What matters is that you're getting up, you're getting in people's lives, and you're making a difference. And that changes everything because then you're not a slave to the conditions. You are able to direct your ship and be the agent that you want to be. And this office teaches that.
I love when you come to
That
the
was so
meeting.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, and then we go from units, which I love units so much more than volume, right? I mean, volume's great, but the units, it just allows you to have a little bit more control over. Closed volume, we're up 10.8%. The MLS is down still 1%. The area's up 5.5, but we're still outpacing both of them, right? So it's not even like a little bit on that. We're still outpacing them by quite a bit. Listings taken, we are up 33.5. I think that's evident. The MLS is up 3.3, which is actually awesome that we're getting more and more listings for our buyers as well. And then the area is up 4.5. But again, they're up single digits and they're low single digits, and we are up 33.5%. Like something is changing. So whatever it is, know what it is, right? Are you lead genning more? Are you being in relationship with more people? What are you doing right now to help to make these numbers change? Because it's you that is changing. Listings taken volume, we're up 38.8%. The MLS is up 8.7. The area is up 17.7. Again, outpacing. Listings sold 18.5. We're up. MLS is down 3.3%. The area is down 1.5%. Listings sold volume, we're up 14.7. The MLS is down 1%. The area is up 5.5. So, I mean, when you see that, I mean, there's similar numbers in some of those. Here's the other big one. So we're positive, right? We're positive the last few months and we're outpacing the market. We now are outpacing we're at 35.3% for contracts written, which means that those are going to be coming up in the upcoming months, right? The MLS is up 1.6, and our area is up 2.4. But if you were to look at that number, what do you think that top number is going to look like in the next few months? That's going to look even larger than what it is already in regards to where our closed units are. Contracts written volume, we're up 44%. The MLS is up 6.3, and then our area is up 13.3. If you were to summarize this, what do you see?
Momentum.
Domination.
Momentum.
Momentum, yeah. What happens though in momentum if we want to be really, 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 really vulnerable? When we're in momentum, sometimes we forget the other activities, right? And then the momentum goes down and you got to build the momentum again. So in regards to keeping that momentum, we have to be very conscious of what we're doing right now with our time. Would you guys agree?
That can be your hour a day in the morning.
That could be joining us for our hour a day. Do you see how this is all coming around? Yeah. All right.
That's good. Every number is great. I mean, that's so exciting.
So this is last year compared to this year just for our market center. So closed units last year, we were at 77.
Why'd you go back to that previous page? Those numbers are unbelievable and to tell you how much better they are than just looking at them here. as most of you know, I see numbers from quite a few other Keller Williams offices. And every KW office that I know of are up similar numbers like this, but we're actually leading the pack. But it's not only that part, but if you know agents out there that aren't with Keller, this has got to tell them something. I mean,
Here's the thing is in that regard, when we look at our regional numbers, right? There are market centers that are much larger than us. And we are consistently above market centers that have a lot more agents than us, but production wise and closed units wise, we are just crushing them, right? Which I want everyone's success, but I mean, with even larger numbers of people, this would be absolutely remarkable. And you have even more opportunities as agents within the market center. All right. So this month or this year, we're at 100 closed units versus 77 last year. Closed volume, we are at 58.5 million versus 34.9. Can we just talk about that for a hot second? Heather, what is the little asterisk that you put in there?
That's a record for May. We've never had a closed volume of over 58 million. So that's a record for an all-time record for May. So that is very, very exciting. Yep, we
So,
are.
Listing, I mean, that's huge, but also when you think of that, right? You think of, when you look at the numbers, right? Like, what is our average sales price as well? And I don't know what that is like off the top of my head, but
Like in a second.
that's a huge thing. So use these numbers, right? When you're going on appointments, use these numbers.
Average-
What is
Would you like
it?
to know that from me?
Yeah, I would.
It was $585,453.
Great. So what you can put that in there, that's our market center's average sales price, right? These are all things that you can utilize to bring more value to yourself, knowing numbers and show validity, right? Listings taken, we had 66 versus 35. That's huge. Listings taken volume, we had 38.5 versus 18.5. Listings sold, we had 45 versus 29. Listings sold volume, we had 28.8. And the year before, we had 14.2, another record-breaking May. Contracts written, we had 127 versus 84. Our contracts written volume is 67.9 versus 35.1. Again, another record-breaking May. Closed GCI, we had 1.681826. I'm gonna say that whole number versus 844. Do you know what this means? Do you guys know what this means? When I say, hey, do we have some bucket fills? What's good that's going on? Well, I'm gonna tell you, you guys made twice as much as you did the last year. Right? Twice, essentially twice as much as you did last year. Are you feeling that?
Pretty good for a JOB.
It is pretty good for a JOB. Maybe you want to get a different one, but I wouldn't.
I like that. And that's an all-time record.
That's
And
the
last
highest
guys,
GCI ever. That's not even just May, that's ever. The highest GCI ever that this market center has had.
and last month in April, you guys had an all-time record of 1.62. I mean, so that's in 2 months. Well over $3 million. It's so exciting, you guys. That's awesome.
And then profit share, we were able to share 12,000 versus 8,657. You guys, that's also a really big thing, right? There were months last year that I remember we had zeros in these spots, right? And there were different reasons for that. However, if we didn't look at the numbers and we didn't change things and we didn't get, you guys into more productivity, it was just an ebb and flow for the entire market center, right? There are really big things happening. Are you guys feeling busy? Productive? Successful? A little of all of it? Well, I'm really proud of all of you because these numbers aren't the market center's numbers. We are nothing without you guys, right? So this isn't like, oh yay, our market center did this. No, this is, oh yay, you guys did this, right? It's a really, really, really cool thing. So you should be proud. All right, next. All right, so if your name is not up here and you have a listing that you took and it is live on the multiple listing service, you can also come up here because again, sometimes we miss things. Otherwise, let's form a line and it is spin the wheel for some cash. Yeah.
And pizza,
It's
lunch,
coming at 12:12, so just
12.
stay
So,
put.
stay put, spin the wheel, pizza, right, Rachel?
Yeah, pizza, salads, cookies, things.
So it'll be here just a few minutes.
Don't leave.
Also, all wants and needs, we can go over right now, it's sitting in line, so let's do that. What we got coming on and what buyer needs do we have? New listings, buyer needs, what do we got?
Does that
New
in-
listing in Maple.
Yeah, Angie, but how about in your other market?
By Elm
Oh.
Creek Park Reserve, it's 5 bed, 4 bath, 3,600 square feet on an acre on waterfront. It's going live on Friday, $5.99. And then I'm also looking.
water?
What'd you say?
Where, what, like?
Teal Lake, so it's non-motorized, but, and then looking in like west suburbs, anywhere from EP up to Maple Grove. Single family home under 300, it can take a little bit of work, but, yeah, if you have anything on me.
Detached townhome?
Possibly. You convince him. He's flexible.
Okay. No, I'm not telling you.
I was like, oh, from the corner, I'm like, what?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
serious?
Like, huh?
Detached townhome listing.
Like, okay, all right,
Okay,
what else we
depends on
got?
Well, what's the price?
I've got a, coming soon tomorrow. And it'll go live, next week. So that'll be 620, 5 bed, 3.5 bathroom, 2-car garage, 3,400 what did I say, square feet? Or no, and list price 1.075.
Nice, I like it.
Buyer looking EP school district, so, 2+ garage, 4+ bed, 2+ bath. Looking for 25, 27 square feet or more, between 550s. EP school district.
I have a 24-year-old investor client who's buying her second property. And she would love to buy a property that either has something assumable on it or seller financing. And she wants to move into a portion of it and then something that she can rent out, make income out of for the next 2 years. So if you know anyone that has assumable or seller financing that makes sense, that's what she's looking for.
On Christie posted the 4-plex.
Where is it?
South St. Paul.
South St. Paul?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. I'll look again.
It's like 2.25% assumable too. It's like-
Oh, yeah. Look.
It needs a big chunk of money though.
Hey,
Get in, just in.
what else we got? Clean.
I have a buyer who wants to live on a lake. It has to be like they have to be able to put a boat or jet skis kind of stuff on it. Not just a pontoon. And they'll go, they would like to be closer to 500, but they can go like more than double that. If it's the right house, isn't it hard with people who don't want lakes? You're like, oh, so either 500 or 1.5. Okay. That narrows it down. Kind of like to be, not too far from Minnetonka. They'll go farther west. They'll go a little bit north or south, but sort of that area. But if you have something on a lake, talk to me about it. Maybe it'll fit, because that's a large span. Yeah, and then I have a couple of first-time home buyers who are looking for very low prices. So if you have any good ideas for first-time home buyers stepping into the market, it's really hard for my first-time home buyers right now.
Do they want a house? Because they're just listed a couple of condos.
You have to look at those. They would really like a house. They have little kids, but
they more want to own than anything. So we're figuring it out. Yeah, right. We don't know. Where can they afford? That, I mean, if
The
it's
location
if
is
it's
a question mark.
We just dropped the price on our Lake, Linden Hills condo. It's a 1-bed, 1-bath, in-unit laundry, 2 parking stalls, a block off of Harriet. It's at 210, so it's a really great price and great location. We also have 2 detached townhomes on the market right now, one in Plymouth, one in Grove. Both have been significantly updated. One's at 350, one's at 450. Both 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-car plus detached townhomes. So really great opportunity.
Can that condo building rent out in Linden Hills?
Yeah. Rentals are allowed. And you can rent.
Short and long?
You can rent one of the parking spots too. So one of them is underground heated and the other one is just a flat lot behind the building.
And I'm 44.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's a great,
Wait till West 44th Street, 203.
I was curious if it was.
it's my referral. so
I was
I'll have to close
curious
it.
if it was like where all the construction was, or if it's on the other side,
It's
so.
right
it's
on the
like-
other side. Yeah.
I don't think they heard you. It was way funny too.
What else? That one's taken, maybe.
It's lining up.
You're doing lots of it.
Oh, I thought you were lining.
You're one.
Yeah, but
Lydia,
that one's
anymore?
Yeah, that's what she said, yep.
Send
On to Lydia, like,
Send out, she'll send out an email by the end of the day. So if you have any more that you forgot about.
and let's line up. Let's go back to whoever's names are on this board. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of cash given out.
I think so.